Hello, welcome to the Suburban Appalachia channel. We appreciate you joining us today. And today we're going to do a fun recipe. It's something that's a favorite recipe in the South. It's one of my favorite desserts. It's also a favorite recipe here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and that's homemade banana pudding. Now I'm talking about the banana pudding where you cook your custard. It's just so much better than any of the instant things that's on the market. So this recipe is very easy. We'll be using evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk. It's very easy. It has eggs in it. It's a few little steps of the process, but this recipe is one that's been passed down through generations, and it's just so good. I'm going to be using my wife's KitchenAid mixer today. You can use a hand mixer or a whisk. This just makes it a little bit easier. Anybody can do this recipe, and I'll tell you, your family will absolutely love it. I've had this dish ever since I was a kid. Our churches around here in these mountains, at every church dinner, they always have homemade banana pudding, and I'd like for you guys to give it a shot, see what you think. But the first thing I'm going to do is I've just got a can of evaporated milk. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this can of milk, and I'll post the recipe. And if y'all want a written recipe, I can post it in the comments later. But I'm going to take this can of evaporated milk and pour it in a thick bottomed pot. And you really need a thicker bottom pot because this is what you're going to cook your custard in. It has a real thick bottom. You don't want to scorch your custard. But all I'm going to do to this at this point is warm it up. I'm not looking to boil it because we're going to be mixing eggs and other ingredients together. I just want this to be good and hot, not boiling. So I'm going to reach over to my stove. And I'm sorry I haven't got all the cameras lined up yet, but that's going to get better over time. So what we're going to do now is separate 6 eggs. And I'm going to go ahead and set the mixer up because here's where we're going to be doing most of the combining. And I just put the whisk attachment on, but we're going to take 6 eggs and separate the whites from the yolk, and we're going to use the whites to make a delicious topping, meringue topping. And my hands are so unsteady anymore, so y'all just bear with me. Hopefully I won't get the yolks mixed in the whites. But I'm just going to go ahead and put them straight in the mixer while our milk is heating up. And you separate the egg yolks. This is the way I do it. They make egg separators. Which I probably should be using, shaky as I am, but that's okay. We'll get through it. But we're going to reserve these yolks in another bowl. That's what we're going in our custard. And like I say, a lot of y'all are probably better at this than I am. Not too steady these days, but that's okay. But this recipe, and if you come down south, and for those of you watching in other countries, this is an American dish, and for the custard, it has such a richness. And there are instant versions on the market today. You can go buy the instant pudding mix, but they won't taste or have the appearance that this will. This is just a wonderful recipe that your family will love. And it'll be something that, especially your kids, they'll be wanting you to make it every week. They'll say, "Daddy, Mama, make us a banana pudding." And this is homemade, and I'll show you how to cook your custard. So we've got that in here, and I'm going to check on my milk and see how warm it is. And we'll get all these ingredients incorporated. I've got some other things to add, but I'll wait till my milk gets warm. I want to go ahead and separate the eggs, but y'all just stick with me and we'll make the world's best banana pudding. Okay, we have our milk heat it up. Like I say, I didn't get this milk boiling, and it's in a thick bottom pan. You need a thick bottom pan. I have our 6 eggs already separated over here. Got the yolks in the mixer. This is going to be our custard. Here I have a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this in with my egg yolks. And I'll actually take some of this warm milk to help get this out. I wanted the milk warm to help thin out the sweetened condensed milk till we get it started. But this sweetened condensed milk adds a richness to the banana pudding that's just extraordinary. It just gives it a wonderful flavor, and this will be the only sugar in the dish other than some sugar we're going to put in the egg white topping. But we're going to let that, I'll scrape the rest of that out in just a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and add this warm evaporated milk. That's all's in this pan. And it's not hot. It's not going to cook the egg yolks. It's just warm. I just wanted it warm. And to that, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. Just a pinch. Sometimes you need salt to set off the sweetness. But I'm going to go ahead and apologize for the noise, but I'm going to get that mixing up a little bit while that milk's still warm, and it'll help get the sweetened condensed milk flowing, because it's kind of thick. That's okay. But we're going to let that mix, and I'm going to stop it right there, and I'm going to try to get the rest of this milk out. The sweetened condensed milk's kind of thick, and sometimes it's tricky to get out of the can, but it's worth the effort. Worth the effort. There we go. We're not going to get it all, but we got the most of it. That's good. Okay, we're going to get this to mixing again, and we've added the salt. We've added the sweetened condensed milk, 6 egg yolks, a can of evaporated milk, and I have here a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. That goes into this mixture. And I'm just going to put a little bit at a time so it don't all clump together. Get it going. That'll help all this mixture thicken up when we go to cook our custard. And this is one of the most delicious custards. Sometimes I just like it by itself. Very, very good. Pick it up just a little higher. Get everything mixed together real good. Okay, now I'm going to add the rest of the flour. Get that incorporated in. And basically, once you get all this mixed together, we'll put it back in this saucepan, and we're going to put it on the stove and cook it till it thickens up for approximately 15 minutes. And you have to stir continually, or don't, it'll stick and scorch, and it'll ruin your recipe. If you do scorch a custard, it's not all lost. You can take a strainer or a sieve and sieve your custard, and then put it back in a clean pot and recook it. I've salvaged many a custard that way, and it's something easy to do. That's coming together real well. And to this point, we won't add the vanilla flavor until the end, after we cook it, and I'll show you that. But you mix them together in this bowl, a can of sweetened condensed milk, a can of warmed evaporated milk, a 1/2 cup of flour, a pinch of salt, 6 egg yolks. Okay, let's see how that's looking. Let's see how that, oh yeah. And if you look, everything is creamed together, and I didn't get the milk hot enough to cook. Just warmed it up. All I wanted this is to make this sweetened condensed milk to be able to flow freely, because it's pretty stiff. It's a stiff mixture, but it's worth the effort. It just adds a richness that you can't get from sugar alone. But anyway, there you have it. We've got that in that big pan. And we're going to put this on the stove, and I'm going to stir it continually, like I say, for 15 minutes. But I'll show you when it's ready with a camera. I'll go close up. Okay, we've got this cooked, and as you can see, it's a real thick custard. I set it off the stove, cooked it for approximately 10 or 15 minutes, and while it's still warm, you want to go ahead now at this point and add 2 tablespoons of butter. And this will just dissolve in there while we're assembling the banana pudding. 2 tablespoons of butter, a tablespoon of vanilla flavoring, and I'm just going to use my eye. You can measure exactly. And I'm going to stir this around. And like I say, it's a thick custard, but it'll coat those bananas and wafers we're going to use. And it smells so good. But it's very thick. And don't be concerned when you cook it because of the flour that's in it. You may have a few lumps, but when you put it in your pudding and it sits for a while, it's perfect. So we'll go ahead and get the pudding assembled, but I wanted to show you that. And I'm just going to leave that butter and vanilla flavoring to melt in with the pudding mix, and then we'll be putting our pudding together next. Okay, we have a bowl here. You can use any kind of dish. It needs to be oven friendly because we're going to brown the meringue after we put it on. But I like to start off, you can use vanilla wafers of your choice. This is the brand that we have around here. And the first thing I do is I put some wafers in. And this is a big dish, something about like so. And then we'll put us a banana in. You just peel the banana. And actually, if your bananas are not real ripe, it's even better because when we get done with this pudding, you can eat it hot or warm, or put it in the refrigerator and it'll keep for up to a week. And just slice your bananas like so and put them over top of your wafers. And sometimes where we live, bananas are either too green or they're too ripe, but these seem to be just right. And I'll just keep putting about 3 to 4 bananas should do the trick. This is so good though, your kids will love it. But don't worry about your custard if it has a few lumps in it, because you'll never know it once it sits for a while. Okay, I think that right there, about 3 bananas for this point here will be good. And so now we're going to take some of this delicious custard that's been sitting over here and the butter is melting in it. I don't know if you can see it. Don't worry about a few lumps. It's not going to make any difference. You just want to thicken it up. And actually you can run it through a sieve, but it just makes it so much richer if you put a little flour in it. So what we're going to do now, be sure that butter is melted or softened. And we're going to mix it in with the custard. And now we're going to pour this custard over the top of the bananas and wafers. And you can use any shaped bowl of your choosing. This one spreads everything out. You can use a deep dish instead of a long, shallow one like I have this time, but that's okay. And that condensed milk is so thick, but it adds a richness, and some people it's hard to work with. But that's the reason I warmed my milk before I ever started mixing it. It just makes it easier. Okay. We'll get this leveled out. And I'll just take my spatula, and this stuff will run. It's pretty thick. But that's okay, that's what we want. It's pretty thick. And I'm going to take, and if you can see, I've got that over the bananas and the wafers. And now don't want to waste any of that goodness of that custard. And like I say, don't worry about your lumps. It's okay. Okay, now we're going to add a few more wafers. And you can crumble them up, place them ever how you want to. Some people crumble them on this last layer. I just let them fall where they're made. I'm not a neat cook. Not a very neat chef. I'm not a chef. I'm not even a cook. But I'm just wanting to show you how easy this is. And there we go. Something about like that. And the crumbs fall out on top. That makes it even more better. Okay. I think I will add one more banana. I'll add one more banana to this over top of those wafers, and them crumbs just makes it better. I say, wow, he's a messy cook. No, it's all going to mingle together and make a beautiful dessert. Love bananas, they're good for you. Okay, there's what we have up to this point. We've got wafers and bananas and then a layer of that delicious custard. And next step we're going to make a meringue. And I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to put it in the oven, brown the top of the meringue, and then we'll be ready to serve. Okay, the next step is to make your meringue. And I have the 6 egg whites here in the mixer. And I'm going to add to that a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And I encourage you to get you some cream of tartar if you're making meringues. It just makes all the difference. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of castor sugar in there with it. And we're going to get this going. And be sure your bowl's clean. Your mixing paddle's clean. And we're going to let this go for a while. And when we come back, I'll let you know how long it took to mix and make the meringue, but we're looking for lofty peaks. So we'll be right back when it's finished up. Okay, we've got lofty peaks, as you can see. The cream of tartar really helps that out, really makes it whip up nice. So what we're going to do now, we've got our pudding here that we've already assembled. And we're going to take this meringue and put it right over the top. And some of you all are probably a lot better at this than I am. But we're going to take this meringue and work it around on the top. And you can make it as fancy as you'd like. But this makes such a delicious dessert. Your family, when you make this for them, maybe it'll be the first time, it'll be a good memory because it's so good. And you can include your kids in this recipe. It's just a fun recipe to do with your family, and it's so good. And this is what we eat here in the South. Like I say, I'm not a chef, I'm not a cook, but I want to show others part of our food heritage about what we've eaten and what I grew up on and what I remember as a kid. And like I say, I'm no artist either. Somewhat clumsy most of the time. But what we're going to do is take this meringue and scoot it around on top and fill in any voids. And you can texture it. Use your fingers if you have to. I'm going to work this meringue around. About like so. Then you can take your spatula and hit and lift up. It makes nice little tufts on top of the meringue. Now, when you get it looking about where you want it, don't want to waste anything. We want to put this in the oven under the broiler for about a minute at a time and keep an eye on it. You don't want it to burn. You don't want to burn it, you just want to brown the tops of this meringue. And I guarantee you, it'll be delicious. Okay, so when we come back, I'll show you what it looks like after it comes out of the oven. After a couple of minutes in the oven, we browned our meringue. Beautiful pudding. Wanted to show you how simple it is to make. And I know the prepackaged pudding mixes that you can get is a lot easier, a lot quicker. But this is simple. Your family will love it. It's a taste of the old South. It's just a dessert that'll be memorable in your family. And your family will enjoy having this dish. And I appreciate you joining me today. But I wanted to share that with you. The world's best banana pudding. You can get as creative as you would like with your topping. Some people even sprinkle some crushed vanilla wafers over the top. But you can have this warm, or you can chill it overnight in the refrigerator. It's actually even better tomorrow or the next day. But God bless you. I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you're interested in getting the written recipe, leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up if you like our video, and please subscribe to the Suburban Appalachia channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and God bless each and every one of you.